Good morning and welcome to Hall 5 of the National Exhibition Centre. I'm here for the 2025 Practical Classic Car and Restoration Show. I'm actually here for the entirety of the event this year. You may see in the background we've got my Megane Coupe on display on the Renault Owners Club stand. Now throughout the event I'll be doing a bit of work on the car and some of that may well go into my members vlog, so if you're not already a channel member, do consider taking a look at that for exclusive members only content and early access to some car review videos. In the meantime, I'm probably going to split this video into a few parts. So today is actually the Friday, so first day of the event. Yesterday I was in here most of the afternoon and into the evening for the initial setup. So we'll have a quick look at a few of the vehicles in Hall 5 and then maybe at the end of the day when it's quiet again, I'll go around and try and capture a bit more. So on our stand we have got the Renault Velsatis. This one's actually a sort of mid-range privilege spec, but we've still got all the leather and wood and everything in there that you would expect from your luxury barge. Obviously the Velsatis and Aventime were Renault's take on the luxury car in the early 2000s. This particular example is actually equipped with the 2-litre turbo petrol engine and a manual gearbox, but many came with diesel engines in both 4 and 6 cylinder, and there was also the 3.5 litre V6 petrol engine that you could get in the Nissan 350Z. Just having a quick look behind the vehicle, you see we've got some display walls in place. So we've got these various banners going through the different decades of Renault, and in between there we've actually got some old toolboards that have come from an old Renault dealer workshop, and I think some of them tools are quite old. They probably predate my car by quite a few years, I would imagine. Obviously next to that we've got my Megane Coupe, the 1997 Mark 1 Phase 1 1.6e Fiji. This is the car that I took back to Belgium a few years ago to the factory where it was assembled. So it's really nice to get this car on display here. I've been coming to these shows for a good few years now when I've not actually seen one of these cars on display yet. Incidentally, last month it was marked 28 years since this car was assembled, and then it was registered in the April, so officially it'll be 28 years old next month. Like I say, I will be looking to do a bit of work at this show. We've got a few dents and things I'm going to try and have a go at. Obviously we're a bit limited at the restoration show. I know some people do trailer cars in and do some quite heavy restoration work, but obviously we're in a sort of public environment, and yeah, you certainly can't go playing with welders and things like that in here, but like I say, I'm sure we'll find a few jobs to do. Next to my car we've got Rob's Renault 5 Alpine Turbo. Anybody know the difference between an Alpine and a Gordini? This car was a European market car. In the UK and I think possibly one other market, they couldn't use the Alpine name because Chrysler already had the rights to it, so they were badged a Gordini. But essentially that's the difference. It's the name is all down to which market the car was sold in. This is a fantastic example. It really does pop in here in this blue, doesn't it? I think this car is going to get a lot of attention actually over the course of the weekend. Obviously there's a lot of buzz around Renault 5 at the moment with the new model, the electric version that's just come in. Incidentally, the club did have one of those on display at the back end of last year at the NEC. Now directly opposite the Renault Owners Club stand is the Citroën Car Club stand, and they always have a very impressive stand regardless of which show they're at. The restoration show, well, I know they're really going to pull the stops out. Last year they had a demonstration of their hydro pneumatic suspension, which they ran periodically throughout the day. So yeah, I know there'll be a lot to see on here, and if you do visit Hall 5, come and see us at the Renault Owners Club stand, and by all means pop over here as well. If you do visit the Citroën Car Club stand, you're likely to bump into Ben. You can't miss him, he's over 6 foot tall.
Hello.
Morning, Ben. Nice to see you again. Yeah, Ben's a friend of mine, so I can do these impromptu visits where I just turn up with a camera. Ben, obviously, I've driven Ben's Saxo VTR on the channel, and I've also done a 2CV event with you, which were quite fun. But as I said, today,
you loved that car.
I did. I really enjoyed that car. So Ben, you've got a cracking stand again by the look of it.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about what you've got on here today and what people should be coming to have a look at.
Today we have a Citroen XM. It's a rare left-hand drive 3-litre V6, which is under renovation. If you look inside, you'll see there's a lot of the interior missing and a lot of the front end of the car. We have a late 1970s GSA Club in yellow, which stands out a little bit. That one's been modified with bumpers from an older car and is quite characterful. And we also have a recent import into the country, DS, just here, which you've just seen in silver, and that belongs to a nice owner called Kwame, and he's very proud of this car.
In terms of displays and things, Citroen Car Club has in the past had some of the best demonstrations that I've seen at any of these shows. Last year it was the hydro pneumatic suspension. What have you got going on here this year?
Again, this year we're doing the hydro pneumatic suspension of the DS. At several points through the day we'll be demonstrating how the car knows its height, how it goes up and down, and how it can sit on 3 wheels.
Excellent. Well, I'll have to pop back and make sure I catch that on camera.
Because we all know the story about its DS saving a president's life when the car got shot at.
That's right, it has been mentioned maybe one or two times.
Once, every time somebody speaks.
Yeah.
So we're demonstrating that later.
Fantastic. Right, excellent. Oh, I'll catch up with you a bit later, Ben.
See you soon.
See you. Now, as mentioned, I did go with Ben to an event in his 2CV last year, Raid Tan Hill, one of the best events I've done by far. That was organised by a group called Leslie Boo, who are affiliated with 2CVGB. 2CVGB stand is here. Obviously, we've got a lot of 2CVs on there. We've also got cars like these AMIs. The AMI essentially is 2CV derived underneath. A lot of similarities in terms of the suspension and engine, just in a much more modern body design. We do have a 2CV here. This is very much like the race car that we saw at Alton Park for Autos de France last year. So it's quite interesting seeing these going around the track. Naturally, we've got a Diane over there as well. Again, very much a 2CV derived model that was just freshened up a little bit. So we've got this Lomax on stand now. Carl, you were going to tell me a little bit about this vehicle.
It was a friend, he phoned me up and said, I've got it, it's been sitting there for 10 years in my garden, rusting away. What can you do? Can you help me with it? So I said, well, if I take it to work and then the students can have a look at it, and there's meant it just a fault find, but they ended up stripping it completely down, welding up all the chassis and gaining a lot of skills.
Excellent.
Along the way.
Which college is that, by the way?
East Coast.
East Coast,
East
okay.
Coast College. So yeah, they did all the work. So now we can then do the mechanical bits here and finish it off and actually get it roadworthy again.
Oh, excellent. So where do you expect to be with it by the end of the show?
Hopefully run it all in a running condition with all the electrics fixed and all back together again, and minor work to be done before the MOT.
Excellent. Well, I'll be here till Sunday, so hopefully we'll...
fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
We're going to be there.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
All right. Cheers.
I'm going to enjoy coming back to have a look and see the progress on that Lomax. They also had a lovely Acadian on there. Again, like the AK, which was a 2CV derived van. That's just the Diane equivalent. We've got a lovely Audi ATN 100 on stand here. This is an era of Audi I really like. There was very much the thinking man's choice back then. Never seemed quite as popular as Mercedes or BMW, but yeah, I almost thought of it as the German equivalent of Saab. Obviously things are very different today. It's probably one of the most popular brands of new cars on sale. Audi Coupe, obviously without the box arches. When was the last time you saw one of these? Naturally, everybody raves about the Audi Quattro, but yeah, not often you see one of these versions. Actually, a few more Audis on here as well. I did mention the Audi Quattro. There's actually another Quattro here. In fact, 2 Quattros. Obviously, one that looks very much pristine, and one that's obviously a work in progress. Now, the Simca stand is actually next door to the Renault Owners Club stand. And again, as always, I've got an interesting array of vehicles and a really nicely laid out display. Great bunch of chaps actually. I've spoken with the members of this club quite a few times at various events and shows, and yeah, really friendly bunch, and they did actually extend me an invite to come along to one of their events, but I just haven't been able to make it happen as of yet. As always, next to there we've got Matra. Obviously Matra and Simca are quite a close relationship. Incidentally, Matra are the same company that built cars like the Renault Espace and the Renault Aventime that I travelled here to the show in this morning. We've got a couple of Morenas on here. That's the three-seater mid-engine sports car. And then we've got this lovely Rancho. These are, again, something you don't see very often these days, but they definitely do have quite a following. They were sort of the sport utilitarian vehicle of the sort of 1980s. And yeah, quite an interesting vehicle. So here we've got the Ford XR Owners Club Northern section, and there's a car on here that really stood out to me yesterday on setup because it's a car I've not seen before, because it's not a UK spec car. So Ford Sierra, but this is number 30 something of 250 cars made, and it's the South African market XR8. I believe these were actually built to homologate a racing series or for touring cars. The base of the engine and gearbox is Ford Mustang V8, and apparently, to make that all fit, Ford executives wanted the car to have the look of the headlamps and everything from the higher spec cars. So we've got the larger twin headlamps, and obviously we've got the grille on there for cooling. But to make all that fit, the radiator had to be changed, the headlights had to be made sort of slimmer, so that all the front end of the car had to be reworked to fit that power plant in there. But yeah, really unique car. I've never actually seen one close up before, so great to see this here. There's some other interesting cars on here. Naturally, we've got a Mark 1 Fiesta XR2, another Sierra. In fact, this is the XR4i. I always really like these. In fact, controversial, I know, I prefer these over the three-door Cosworths. I love the design of this rear window and this double spoiler on here. Next to this Sierra is actually a car I featured on the channel before, Mark 5 Escort XR3i. When I saw this car at a show last summer, it was just clicking over 5,000 miles from new. Another Sierra. This time we've got a 5-door version of the XR4. This is actually an XR 4x4 as well, so yeah, again, really great to see that car here. Something again that I've not seen for many years. Mark 5 Escort Cabriolet again. Once a very popular car. Where did they all go? So I've actually had to cut my filming short this morning because I had to rush back to the stand and get everything ready for the show opening. I have actually spent most of the day on our club stand doing work on my Megane and a few little jobs on Rob's Turbo. Now, if you want to see a bit more about what's going off with work on our stand and some of the behind the scenes stuff, channel membership will actually gain you access to exclusive members only content, as well as early access to certain videos. So as I say, please do consider a channel membership. Anyway, back to today's show. So we've got lots of exhibitors. We've also got a lot of trade stalls here as well. I know one of the other members of our stand has already bought a few little bits that he needed to complete some work on his vehicle here today. So I'll be looking at these fantastic cars on this stand, where obviously we've got a vehicle that's awaiting some sort of restoration and a couple of really pristine looking cars. Now, Nigel, the products you've got here are obviously used in this line of work. Tell us a little bit about the products you've got.
So Novo was established in 1978 in a place called Poznan in Poland, and they're manufacturers of high quality performance products both in modern day crash repair and specifically in classic car, which is their specialist area. And the idea was that nobody really has a complete classic car system. So we went away and looked at what was needed for the market based on epoxies and high gloss clears, and we came up with Novo for classic car. And these two gentlemen here are two of our customers that use the system from the ground upwards, to have a complete control of what they're doing. And these are two examples of the sort of finish you can achieve by using Novo for classic car.
Excellent. So Steve, we'll come to you. So you've done this fantastic American car behind us here. So tell us a little bit about what products you've used and obviously why you use those products.
Okay, so this is a 1956 Chevy Bel Air. The whole paint restoration has been done using the Novel Classic Timer renovation system. The reason we use the Novel Classic Timer is because previously in the past, before we come across Novel, we painted cars and we were finding ourselves having issues. And then this got introduced to us, and it was a bit of a no-brainer using the same brand product throughout the whole system that's designed to work simultaneously as one full example, as you see there. And so the idea was to give it a go at start and see how we got along with it, and it kind of made sense straight away. The products are really good to use, painter loves them, and this one we have done probably 3 years ago now. This is painted, and it just goes to show that the products stand the test of time really well, and just hold their own. There's not another product in the industry like it. So
excellent. I'm just going to shuffle over this side to make sure we get everyone in. So Duncan, obviously, again, you work with a lot of these products as well.
I do indeed.
You've done this fantastic Ford Escort behind us. Again, which particular products have you also used the whole system?
To ensure that you've actually got a long-lasting job, you start and finish with every single product in the range. It's the only way that you are actually going to retain that.
Yeah.
So, So with all of our jobs, it is Novel from start to finish without any issues.
And presumably the cars, when they're going to the customers, you're getting long-term satisfaction. You're not getting them coming back saying there's any issues or anything.
No, that's the whole point. Obviously, with using every single product from the range, you're ensuring your warranty.
Yeah.
So this Escort itself, we painted this just over 2 years ago.
Okay.
So, and today it still looks like
it's just come out at paint.
Literally, as we finished it, it's exactly the same.
Excellent. Nigel, just briefly, obviously we've got professionals here that are using your products, but what about somebody like me at home? Have you got products in your line suitable for DIYers?
Absolutely. So if, for example, if somebody's doing their own restoration, we can provide training through Gavin Pink training courses. We can provide training through our own technicians as well. And the idea is that the premise of the system is 100% anti-corrosive. So from ground coats all the way through to top coats. And if you want to preserve your car and have it looking fantastic in years to come, then we can help with that as well.
Excellent.
And so these products are all available through the right stockists.
Yeah.
And Noble in the UK, which is operated through Gabbiz Limited, we can provide that service and help with that. So.
Fantastic. Excellent. Thank you very much. Cheers. So just before I move on from here, I just wanted to introduce Gavin Pink now. Gavin, we're just going to have a quick chat about you. You actually run some courses, don't you? So if people want to learn how to use your products at home.
We do, yes. So we do a 4-day training course based on the whole Novel for Classic Cars system. Participants, we only have 4 at a time. So we have a bonnet each, and they basically do the work on it from a bare metal panel right to a finished panel, so polishing through all the processes, so it's completely hands-on, and it's 4 days hard graft actually.
Yeah.
But we do lots of them at our own workshop, so you can look us up, you'll find me on social media really easy if you just Google my name.
Yeah.
And we'll just get someone booked in if they're interested in doing something.
That's smashing. And there's a big feeling of satisfaction working on your own vehicles, isn't there?
Absolutely. Well, we do obviously things like this Escort. We do lots of these sort of jobs. There's one of our cars that we've done there. So really, the end result is the thing we're looking for.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, that's great. Thank you very much. So, wandering around, I've come across a stand that caught my eye for a few reasons. One was the rather interesting vehicles in front of it, and the other thing is that on the back wall it's got the word Yorkshire, because this stand is Yorkshire Car Restoration.
Yep.
Now, Ryan, tell us a little bit about. So obviously you've got some really interesting, unique cars here, some very rare cars.
Yeah, some very rare cars. I mean, here we've got a Mazda Cosmo 110S. It's actually a 1970 Mazda Cosmo 110S. There was only ever 1,100 ever built, and it's like the pinnacle of Mazda. This white majestic thing you're looking at here is the pinnacle of Mazda, because it was like their take on a futuristic car.
Yeah.
They never made it to last. They never built it to last in the 1970s.
No.
Obviously, it's got its design flaws, like the louvers on the front that allowed water to get into there, and it was an absolute rock box when we bought it, but in 4 weeks we actually restored this to what it is now. Now we bolted the old panels on there just to show what it used to look like and what it looks like now. But it's a really nice car, and it's one of two in the country. I think Mazda own one and we own the other one, and it's it's my dad's favourite car. And my brother posted the advert because I bought it from eBay, right? He posted me the advert. 8 minutes later, I bought the car.
And I bet there's a load of JDM enthusiasts that now would, in hindsight, they would have all been on it, wouldn't they?
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, people keep saying, "Where on earth did you find this car?" Because it's so rare. I mean, like I say, 1,100 ever made. They were all hand built. And you can't get panels for these cars. You can't just buy a hubcap or a windscreen or anything, because they're so rare that it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And to actually own one of these is absolutely unbelievable, and we showcase everything that we do on our YouTube channel as well.
Yeah.
And it's I mean, just looking at it.
I mean, obviously the panels, if you can't buy them, the other option is to make them.
Yes.
Such as the glass. I mean, how do you even go about?
Yeah, so you can go to companies, if you take like a book of the glass, or you can get a template of it, you can send them the template and then they can make the glass from there.
Yeah.
But to have the original glass is always better because it's original to the car.
Yes.
But we've hand fabricated all the panels on this, even the sills that you can see at the bottom, we've hand fabricated the 4 layers of sills, all the inners and the outers, all by hand using basic tools.
Okay.
Shrinkers, stretchers, anvils, visors, just basic tools.
Yeah.
And we show people how to do it on our YouTube channel as well.
Excellent. Well, I'll certainly be checking that out because I'm quite into watching anything like that.
Yes. Yeah, it's more of like an educational thing as well. We try and show people how to do it so they can take a portion of that video and apply it to their own car.
Yeah.
So if you've got a hole in your sill, you can take the Mazda Cosmo video that I've done and apply it to your car. So you can do the little sill section, bada bing, bada boom, it's done.
Excellent.
Easy.
And obviously, with this car in particular, most people know it from Gran Turismo, don't they?
They do, yeah. I mean, we went to a show a couple of months ago and 6 people actually guessed what the car was, and 4 of them was because of Gran Turismo. But I mean, people always come over and say, "What even is it?" And it's like they don't know what it is because it's so rare. And I mean, Mazda want to do a collab with us on this because I think they actually want to buy the car off us.
Yeah.
Because the one that they have is imported from Poland.
Okay.
But this is actually I think this is the only one that's residing in this country that I know of. There might be some in garages and some that I don't know of, but I mean, to have our hands on this is just absolutely mind-blowing.
Yes,
it really is.
Probably the rarest car here at the show, I bet.
Yeah, and people keep coming up to us and saying this is the car of the show for them. And you can see it's got rusty panels on it, you've got a crack in the dash, you've got holes in the actual upholstery itself, and you know, like, it just shows its raw form of what it used to be, and it's so nice for people to come up and say this is absolutely the car of the show.
For a JDM enthusiast, it's pure nerdvana, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It's really, honestly, it's mind-boggling to know that we actually own this car. It really is. And like I say, within 8 minutes of seeing the advert, I snapped the guy's hand off and bought it. Didn't even ask any questions except for, is it still available? Once he said yes, I was like, I'll buy it.
The other interesting vehicle you've got on here looks like an anniversary special Countach.
It is indeed, yes.
But it's not, is it?
But it's not, no, because it is a Mirage Countach.
Yeah.
So you're right in what you're saying with the 25th anniversary, but it's actually a replica, so it's a copy of the original thing. So everything that you see is an exact replica of the original thing. So it's almost like they've got the real thing and they've taken it all apart bit by bit and they've replicated every single thing. So all the tubular chassis is exactly the same as the original thing. All the dimensions are the same, all the heights are the same, everything. The only thing that's different is the engine. Now it's a V8 Rover engine instead of the V12.
Yeah, of course.
Which, if they were to put V12s in there, it'd be $500,000 maybe just for the engine, do you know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah, it's got a V8 Rover in it.
Well, actually, regular channel viewers may remember last year we actually saw the Mirage at the show, and from memory I think that was actually the car that Mirage used in their promotional material. And obviously the one difference to the original was the engine, and the other thing is, in fact, 2 Countach replicas I've seen both used Mark 1 Metro heater.
Oh, there
boxes.
you go, yeah.
Maybe it's just that everything's all in one, that it sort of fits the car, and
exactly.
Maybe it's easy to plumb in. But yeah, the previous one I saw, as we've mentioned, the chassis and the dimensions and everything, it's as near to the real thing as you're going to get.
Yeah, 100%.
And obviously, if you're using genuine wheels, genuine Lamborghini headlamps and other components, you're going to get very close to the real thing.
Exactly, and people come up to us and say, is it real? And it was like, well, what do you think? And they think, yeah, it looks real. We actually spoke to an owner of a real Countach, right? So he's got a real Countach. It was behind closed doors, and we managed to get close quarters with it. We took loads of photos of ours, and we compared it with his, and it's actually exactly the same. And we showed photos to this guy, and he's got, I think he's got like 80,000 miles on it. He drives it all the time.
Yeah.
And he said, yeah, that's a real Countach, that. It's like, no, it's actually a copy. And that's how close it is. And what they've done is they've actually taken the design flaws from the real Countach and they've made them better. So it's actually better than the real thing.
Yeah.
So it's almost like a Countach with a V8 engine, but it's not made by Lamborghini.
So a little bit more affordable to run, but it all depends how much you want that screaming V12.
Well,
doesn't
exactly,
it?
Yeah. And to be honest, it's been an absolute showstopper because people walk by it and they stop it immediately and take photos and ask what their story is, because you can see the paintwork is spidering. You can see there's the interior is absolutely dilapidated. You can see that there's it just doesn't look like a road going car. But what we're going to do is make it road going and leave the paintwork exactly like it is. So it'll be a rat look Countach driving down the road, going shopping, putting your shopping in there, and it'll be
turning heads everywhere it goes.
Yeah. And it's bright yellow as well. What better colour to catch your eye than bright yellow? It's perfect.
Well, there's someone with a yellow car here who's wearing a yellow shirt.
Yes, yeah, it matches perfectly.
It matches perfectly.
Yeah.
Well, that's excellent. Thank you very much, and I look forward to seeing your videos of the progress on this. So, again, check that out. It's Yorkshire Car Restoration on YouTube.
That's us, yeah.
And smashing. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me, mate.
So here we've got the Jensen Owners Club, and one car we've got here is the Interceptor 3. I actually featured one of these a couple of years ago, showing exactly the same colour as this one. Fantastic cars. Obviously they had celebrity owners like Sir Cliff Richard back in the day. These have got a huge engine in, and they're not really the kind of thing most of us could really run in the UK, or certainly not as a daily car back in the day. But if you've got the means to run one of these, it's certainly quite a vehicle. Actually, around the corner we've got a Jensen Healey, which is a car you don't see all too often. I've seen the odd one at shows, but one I've never seen is actually the Jensen GT. So looks very similar to the Jensen Healey at the front, but obviously it's when you get round the back that things are rather different. So yeah, I don't think I've actually seen one of those before. Now, a stand I actually featured last year. In fact, I interviewed Jack from the Young Retro Motor Club. I really like this club actually. It's quite a friendly club. They've actually got a Facebook presence as well. But you've got younger drivers who are sort of running retro cars. So obviously we've got a Peugeot 206 over there that's jacked up. Obviously a bit of work happening on the rear end of that car. Skoda Favourite, Ken. Don't see these all too often. This is the point really where Skoda were just starting to make waves in the UK. Obviously at this point we was on the cusp of Volkswagen becoming involved with the Skoda brand, and obviously from there the reputation's just been on the up ever since. Speaking of Volkswagen, Volkswagen Polo again, quite a cool car that a lot of young people really do sort of like these things these days. A car I've always liked actually, the Volvo 480. Now obviously this was the first of the trio with the 400 series. We later got the 440 5-door hatchback and the 460 saloon. This car though is the one that had the pop-up headlights. Power wise, a lot of these were actually the joint engines with Renault. So you had the 1721F series that went in a lot of Renaults, but you also got a turbocharged version. I believe there was a 2-litre as well. Really like these cars. I know they do have a reputation for having some slightly complex electronics in there, but great car, and one I'd be quite happy to own. I don't think I've ever seen one in this colour combination before though, so I'm not sure if that's a sort of special colour, but great to see that here. If you like something with a slightly more Eastern European flavour, a couple of Wartburgs here. Remarkable actually, these cars seem to have a real following here in the UK now, these Eastern Bloc cars. I don't know if this stems from, obviously there have been a lot more Eastern Europeans living in the UK these days, or whether it's just something that we're generally become more interested in. I don't know, but I suppose it's the essence of simplicity of cars, and it's something that's really lost in modern cars today. Yugo Sana, I know some of you will probably recognise this car. I think this car has featured on some rather well-known YouTube channels over the years. And obviously we've got a team of people doing quite a bit of work on this car by the look of it. Yeah, I've actually just had a brief chat with a couple of guys that were working on this Sana, and it's great actually to see a group of young people really enthusiastic working on this. They've explained that the problems they're having with this car at the moment is sourcing parts. I mean, a lot of 90s cars are getting difficult to source parts at the moment anyway, but you get an Eastern European car that's got components from some Western brand manufacturers, but the part numbers are different, and certain bits work together. I mean, this car has been through, as I say, a couple of sort of well-known YouTube channels and social media people, and the people who are experienced at dealing with obscure things like this, and they've struggled to get bits. I think they were saying it's had like 5 clutches, and none of them were the right one. It's really difficult to research and get the right bits and obviously get it done. But it's great that they're enthusiastic and dedicated to keep having bash. Obviously, Skoda stand back here, a couple of interesting cars, a lovely old rear engine Skoda, and then something far more modern here. I actually remember these. So these were obviously a pickup, but you could remove that back section if you wanted. You could have seats in the back of it. It's sort of a ute come SUV come 2-door estate. Brilliant concept, and obviously in that bright yellow, they really sort of stood out as being a fun utilitarian vehicle. Some more Skodas here. Obviously I'm going to struggle to show you everything that's on stands here, but lovely Mark 1 Cavalier. When was the last time you saw one of those? These used to be everywhere. Wow, lovely black Mark II Ford Capri S. My dad actually had a yellow 1.6S. In fact, I think it was the same year of registration. And these Mark II seem to be some of the rarest cars now. You sort of see Mark IIIs, people cherish Mark 1s, but the Mark II, the sort of first hatchback one, I think there was perhaps maybe a little less loved. I don't know, but it's always lovely to see one of these Mark IIs. So that's the Boston Classic Car Club. Also displaying a Mark 1 Golf GTI. Oh, and what's this? I imagine this is probably a replica, because the real thing would be worth an absolute fortune. Oh, maybe it is genuine. 1958 D-Type Jaguar. Absolutely stunning vehicle, aren't they? Obviously, I think the XKSS was probably the sort of road-going version of the D-Type, but that's absolutely beautiful. Wow, look at this, Opel Monza GSE. That's a rare beast if ever there was one. The odd couple of these I've seen have actually been in really good sort of pristine condition. This one obviously looks like it's seen better days, but again, it's here, and hopefully somebody's going to get this one back on the road again. It's always nice to see these at shows. I think the Manta always seemed that little bit more common in the UK than what these cars were. Speaking of which, we have actually got a Manta behind that, and obviously a lovely Nova as well. These were incredibly popular cars here in the UK. Even if you ended up with a really base model, I think it was those sort of box arches and sort of quite aggressive looks for a small car. They're certainly much more so than the Corsa that followed. Obviously, I can't mention every club and every vehicle here. There aren't enough hours in the day, but we've got things like the Heinkel Trojan Club here with these fabulous little micro cars. Again, stuff you just don't generally see day to day. So it's always really nice to see them. I imagine these are great fun. I'd love to actually have a go in something like this. I think again it was just a time in Britain where it was sort of simplicity, low cost, and as I said to a lot of people, it was a real step up, because a lot of the people coming into these vehicles were actually coming from motorcycles, and certainly when the weather was bad, probably far better to be in one of those than on a motorcycle. Again, lovely Sunbeam. I actually quite like the Sunbeam Alpines and the Tigers. Probably not as well known to the masses, certainly to younger people, as what things like the MGBs are and the Triumphs. But the more I sort of learn about these cars, the more interested I am.